What's up, Trailer Gang?
What's up, Trailer Gang?
What's up, Trailer Gang?
Trailer Gang, welcome back to another podcast.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. It has been a very interesting day. We're at the Yes Theory Studios. It's insane. We have Thomas on the podcast, and Seeking Discomfort is what they do, and that's what we did today, because this was the first time we left an Airbnb, packed the entire studio, then showed up, and then unpacked it and reset it back up. It was some of the most stressful, but some of the most, it was a new experience for sure.
And we showed up late, which is a very sync thing to do.
That's all right. When you're a big squad, it usually happens that way.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah, it was kind of like the story of, let's leave at 9:30 or 10. And we all woke up. Everybody was ready at maybe 9 from showering and everything. So then we eventually got on the road and we were like, okay, we were packing stuff up, and it was just so difficult to get everybody to do everything because we moved the entire Airbnb around in order to set up the studio. It was pretty treacherous, but
well, thanks for coming all the way to Venice, and this is a cool remote setup. I love
it. This studio is amazing. But Thomas, you want to introduce yourself to the audience? I'm sure they know what Yes Theory is, but if you want to give me a little intro.
For sure. Yeah. So my name is Thomas. I'm part of a YouTube channel called Yes Theory, and basically we make videos about seeking discomfort. So everything we do is about showing people the value of getting out of your comfort zone and the power of saying yes. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing it for 5 years. We're at 5.7 million subscribers or something like that on YouTube, and recently started TikTok, which is fun. I'm loving it more and more. It's stupid addictive, but it's an amazing platform. We're just looking into the future. The goal for Yes Theory is not to remain a YouTube channel. Our goal is to figure out how can we continue scaling it and more into a movement. So our community is the number one thing that we prioritize, and the dream is how can it in 100 years not even be remembered as us, but as this philosophy or this way of life that have brought people together in a positive way.
Yeah, that's amazing. My first interaction with you guys was I watched your videos years ago, and I still do, but it was the one where you got Justin Trudeau to be on your Christmas card.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of Canada. That was sick.
Yeah. It was a very wild idea that Amar had. He was like, what if, what's a really bold, crazy thing we could do? And Justin Trudeau had just been elected, and we were like, let's just get the Prime Minister of the country we were living in at the time, Canada, to just be in our holiday Christmas card. It was just the most ridiculous idea, but when he said it out loud, we're like, yeah, we have to. That's hilarious. Let's absolutely do that.
So how did you guys actually come to be? What was the start of Yes Theory?
So after graduating, I kind of wanted to do something different. Mm-hmm. There was obviously naturally the path of getting a job and kind of building a structured, predictable life, and I saw that for me, and I had a moment of oh boy, if I go down that path, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out. And the idea of getting out of my comfort zone felt like a very powerful way to break that routine. And so I decided that I wanted to do something around getting out of my comfort zone, and then I met Matt, who's also part of Yes Theory, and he showed me this show called The Buried Life, which was about these guys on MTV doing 100 things they want to do before they die. So they have a big bucket list. And I watched that, and at the same time, Casey Neistat had just launched his vlog, daily vlog, and he said his goal is to create a daily, something creative every single day. Mm-hmm. And I watched those things together, and then I had this idea of wanting to get out of my comfort zone, and it started with, okay, I want to do 30 things I've never done before in 30 days and make a video about it every single day. And that we called it Project 30. And as we were kind of organizing that, I met Amar, who snuck into my best friend's graduation party. Yeah. And I told him about it. He loved the idea. And he was just kind of visiting Montreal and moved in on my couch. We had a lot of synergy. He was building an app that was very similar to the philosophy of kind of getting out of your comfort zone and all that. And we just kind of started to... It was very spontaneous. I was just so open. I wanted not just the ideas to be out of my comfort zone, but the whole process. And usually I'm a very planning, meticulous kind of person. I pick carefully who I work with and whatever. And this time Amar seemed like a cool guy, smart guy. I was like, let's do it. And I just basically met Matt, and we just kind of started to make these videos together, and one thing led to another, and we just decided to fully commit to
that's awesome.
to YouTube.
We definitely saw the standard path in front, because we're 19 years old. We were half of us were in college, half of us were looking at what degrees we're supposed to be getting, and a lot of us changed that path because of what we're doing now. We've dropped out, deferred a year. I think we're good. It's kind of scary. Yeah,
That's
for
amazing.
sure.
So you guys are all were you in college?
Yeah.
You were in college, and now you're deferring for a bit.
Yeah.
To keep. Yeah, I mean that's amazing. Our lead editor, Tommy, is Matt's younger brother. He also deferred college for a while because he joined us halfway through. He took some like part-time classes, but yeah, it's on hold for now.
Yeah.
It's worth the opportunity. Like it's such a once in a lifetime thing to do that.
Yeah, totally.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, it was about the idea of like how we found you and with differing school, because we're in a team dynamic, and that's why we're so excited for this podcast, because the most people that we have on, they're huge on TikTok or YouTube, but it's them, right? They're an individual.
Yep.
But kind of similar to us, we don't have a name as our logo. We have a brand, and that's something we're trying to build to be bigger than just ourselves.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it. I mean, when I saw you guys all walk in, I very much related to the feeling of like, just like friends building something together and
just having a ton of people. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fun. Like whenever we walk anywhere, it's like there's just so many people. Like we're together all the time. So you have your good days and bad days, but you know everybody.
So you had 2 cars driving down here from Seattle.
Well, what it was we had 2 cars drive 18 hours, and we didn't. We just had a couple people switch off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Kai slept the whole time.
Yeah,
Literally the entire time.
He woke up to eat like some pizza, and then he went back to bed or something.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we came down a month ago to do some interviews, and we took down 1 van. So just one hot like 9-seat van making it down to California.
It was so bad.
It was pretty bad.
That was fun.
It smelled like 8 dudes in a van, basically.
That's so funny.
It was pretty bad.
I can relate to that too.
Yeah.
So that's what I really want to kind of go into is the idea of how we're really new, we're learning, we're growing. We started at the very beginning of quarantine.
Yep.
But it's
wow, so it's brand new.
Yeah, about
that's amazing.
2-3 months.
4 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
We just want to learn how we work in a team and how we can really, like what is that like, especially when you're moving out to LA, you're doing the big things, you're collabing with people.
Yep.
That process is just insight that I'm sure like our fans are really interested in, we would really benefit from.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like there's a quote that kind of resonated with us a lot, is like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think, going alone, you can make decisions faster, right? Like you can decide, here's what I'm filming tomorrow, boom, go do it. But when you're in a group, you have to kind of sometimes decide. In a team, you have to decide who does what. So it takes a little more time sometimes to move, but overall, it's so much more rewarding to do it together. I think for all of us, we're so grateful. We kind of trade off. Like we each have moments in time when we like need a break, or we're kind of on the verge of burning out a little bit and we want to take a step back from videos. Then the 2 others step up and just host more. And so we kind of have like a pretty good flow when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, we were having for a while, like what's hard when you're making videos together is everyone's got personalities and everyone's got opinions, and there's also like egos, like all of that gets mixed into like this cocktail of conversations that kind of need to be had. And for a while, and we still do to some extent, we would have like interventions. So we would, like, if one person was doing something that was just like not cool for like the rest of the team, or like even what we could tell like felt wasn't good for them, we'd all sit down and we would talk about it.
Yeah, we did the exact same thing.
You did the same thing?
We call it poker night, though.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, you have to be like brutally honest, but also in a way that shows that you care. You're not being a dick about it. You're like, okay, here's something that is bothering me that I want to talk about. And there's always bubbling up emotions and whatever, but it felt very counterintuitive at the beginning, but it was kind of like a survival technique in a way. It was like, we don't have a choice. Like, we have to address these things, or it's going to show up in other ways, right? In like resentment and whatever. And it's good to just be able to break it down and sit down and talk about it.
That's insane, just how, that's what we're trying to be better at, is exactly that, talking to each other, not allowing microaggressions to continue, just saying it out loud. I mean, I think that's what it is. People just feel comfortable, and we need to get better at it. Like, we'll talk about it a little later, but we were talking about this today on the drive here. But it's getting out exactly what you're saying, because if you don't say it, the other person doesn't understand it. And they could be doing something so wrong, but to them it feels right. And just that, like, saying it out loud makes everything so much better, and that's what we're trying to get better at.
Yeah, I mean, communication is so important, and then respect and just being honest. Like, I used to be somebody who struggled with honesty, because I was like, I thought I was being nice by not telling the person something, but then in the end, it ends up showing up in the other ways. And now I've learned that honesty is actually one of the nicest things you can do for yourself and for the other person. So just yeah, just not being afraid to be straight up and talking about things and putting it out on the table. What I've learned is like, you always, in your mind, I'm like kind of a catastrophizing person. I think about like the worst case scenario. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I'm always like, what's the worst case scenario in this situation? How do we like make up for that? But I've realized that most times when you just sit down and talk, like 99.9% of the time you figure it out, you know, and then it's just from there you just show up with empathy and work through it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like when you guys like go on like trips and like you guys go on like a lot of trips, right? And
Yep.
so how does that work in like a team dynamic? Like not even just a team dynamic. Like how like is it like super fun or like is it like kind of like
How do you say
stressful at
sane while having fun? That's kind of like what it is. Like not lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. I mean, that's the thing. Like every trip is kind of different. You know, I went to the least visited country in the world, and I went alone. And I met some really cool people out there, and we ended up hanging out and kind of like partying a little bit. Like after I was done shooting, I didn't really capture it. It was just like a cool moment. And then other times when I went to Bhutan, which is like according to some people like one of the happiest countries in the world, I was just alone, and there was not much nightlife, and I was just kind of alone in my hotel room at night, like not doing anything, you know. So every trip is different. Is that what you were meaning about?
I guess like when you go with the entire team as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a different thing when you leave the studio.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what we've experienced coming down here to California for a little bit.
Yeah, and like when you travel somewhere, do you already have like a set goal on what you're gonna do when you get there and stuff like that? You like prepare like ahead of like what you're going to do, or you just kind of just go with the flow?
For sure, that's a good question. I think it's for a while we would like go to a place. Like in 2018, we just went to Thailand. We had no ideas. We were like, okay, we're going to be here for 3 weeks. Let's figure out some things to do. Now we're much more meticulous in the way that we pick what we want to shoot, and then we go to the place to do it. We're trying to be more organized so that we're like, you know, coming up with multiple ideas in the area, but we're way more picky with what kind of ideas we go for. So now we pick ideas first, then we go.
Okay.
And then more like we very rarely go with the whole team. It's usually like we figure out like what's the best way to split up, like who's most excited to go. Sometimes the tickets to go there are really expensive, so like it wouldn't make sense to bring like 4 people. It's like, okay, 1 person is enough, or 2 people or 3 people, and then we just figure it out that way.
Was there a point where like was there a point where everyone was like, yeah, it might be what's best is not everyone goes, but some people just don't want to be left behind. Everyone wants to be a part of it, but it's not practical for the business. It's not practical for what you guys are building. Was there a period like that, and you guys kind of got over it, I guess?
For sure.
Yeah,
no, that's
okay.
a good question. Absolutely. At the beginning, we were way more like, I don't want to miss out on any episodes. You know, like missing out on one was like, this is such a bummer, right? And then the more we start to do it, the more it was actually kind of like we know that there's like, if we continue doing this, there's an unlimited amount of possibilities of like times we can go on these kinds of trips. And so you don't mind like staying behind once in a while and just have time to work on some other things rather than filming. So more and more we like enjoyed the balance. I think there's times for Ammar, it's unfortunate because he's got an Egyptian passport, which requires like, it's really hard to get visas to travel to a lot of places. It can take weeks to get permission to go somewhere. And we're not organized enough to know weeks ahead of time what we want to film. So rarely he's able to come because of that.
Yeah.
Because he would need to go to the embassies and spend weeks with the passport away and all that stuff. Whereas for me, I have a Swedish and a French passport, and I can just go anywhere, basically. I mean, with a Swedish passport, it's very easy to travel. Not these days, but before COVID and all that.
Yeah, how has that been for you guys? Like, how you guys still?
Yeah, so you guys address it on the YouTube channel. I mean, it's because you guys were traveling. You guys are meeting random strangers and taking them places.
Yeah.
Was it a little tough in here?
It's literally the opposite of what we can do right now,
it's
right?
the
It was
most
like
opposite.
Traveling and strangers were like the 2 main things we would kind of, you know, interact with. And for me, it was like I was in denial for so long. I was like, oh, it's going to be a month or 2 and we'll be back, you know, like it's all good. Like, let's not change the whole plan. And it took me a little bit of time to just accept the fact that like circumstances have changed and I had to adapt the way that I'm thinking about it. And I mean, we barely posted the past couple of months. We just started posting again recently, but we took a break because we just like didn't really know what to do. Like we honestly, none of our ideas felt like COVID friendly in a way.
Yeah.
But then a couple of weeks ago, we kind of regained some motivation and started brainstorming again and came up with ideas that, were close enough to not require like really extensive, crazy travel. So it wouldn't be that much risk, and also would allow us to not be, interacting with groups of people or anything like that.
Yeah. Did your idea for like the podcast come because of COVID in a way?
So we had actually recorded it in January, and we recorded 10 episodes, and then as we were editing it, the COVID hit, and we were like, now our podcast was so not addressing like COVID at all that it like felt kind of tone deaf in a way. Like if you put it up, people would be like, when was this made? Like they don't even address it once.
Can't wait to travel next week. It's
exactly, that kind of stuff. And it's like, and now it makes no sense. So like the way we did it was unfortunate, but so now we've been tweaking it and adjusting it, trying to figure out like doing more interviews and kind of tweaking things to make it flow better. But it was definitely like an opportunity for us to just like rethink again. Like everything was now on the table to like, how do we start over basically?
It sucks, but it can be fun because you can find something new to do.
I think a lot of great things come from adversity. Like when you're in it and it sucks, you just don't want to be there at all. Like you're like, can we just get this over with so I can just feel better again? But so much creativity and so much I feel like inspiration comes when you're like in these moments of struggle and you're trying to figure out how to get out of it, because you're going to have to come up with a creative solution, right? That was different than anything you'd done before. You hit that brick wall of like, oh, I can't think of any more ideas, and the next day you're like, oh my god, I have the best idea.
Exactly. Like you keep on getting that, like, why am I freaking out every single time? Like I've done this like 30 times now.
Exactly. So you guys started at the start of all of this?
Right when
that's amazing.
Washington said
no, is it
right when California went into went into, like their lockdown.
That's wild. So you guys are like brand new.
We're very new to it. It's been fun though. We've had a pretty
It was like you said you just started TikTok. It's like we were able to come down here and have guests to talk to because of TikTok, because the growth on there was so insane. As long as we were consistent and going really hard every day, it grew. The YouTube channel, the Instagram, everything like that.
That's cool.
The growth on TikTok was so fast that we just try to get people to grow the YouTube channel, because we know that's where it's stable, right? YouTube's the best platform there is.
I mean, I love YouTube, but I also love how it feels like TikTok is like the most meritocracy you can find right now, right? Like where whoever, if you put up good stuff and you do it consistently, like you're gonna grow. Whereas in other places like YouTube you can as well, but it takes a little bit longer, and they don't put you up in front of people unless you've like really like got like proven engagement. But TikTok you can like you
can have 0 followers, and if you post something with like you can be you can have 1 million followers,
which I love about TikTok, and I hope
people
TikTok doesn't get banned.
That would suck.
That would suck.
But on like on your TikTok channel, do you like the dances and stuff like
that?
Are you throwing it back? Or?
No, not really. And so that was the thing in the beginning. I was like, I don't know the point of going on TikTok. Because I'm gonna feel like a grandpa on there trying to like do the trends.
How old are you guys?
I'm 27.
Well, that's not.
It's not that old, but I would just feel like if I'm trying to go in doing the dances, I'm like, I had this perception of what TikTok was, which is like it's just teenagers dancing. Like, and then I downloaded it. I was like, oh my god, TikTok is awesome. Like I didn't know. People kept telling me like you would love it, because I was obsessed with Vine back when that existed. And I downloaded it and I was like, okay, this is way better than I expected. And a couple of our editors just decided to recut, like figure out how do we tell a Yes Theory story in under a minute, or how do we take certain very strong moments and we put those up, and they smashed.
And they get people to go check out the full version on YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're now trying to figure out, like, we want to create original TikTok videos. We haven't figured out exactly what that is yet. But right now we're just trying to figure out how can we re-edit like things that we've done. Especially there's some videos that just didn't do very well on YouTube that have been doing really well on the TikTok version.
It's super weird. It's like it's such a mind game that like we have to do. Like there's stuff that like we'll be like, okay, this video is gonna be awesome on TikTok and YouTube, and then like we put it up and it just doesn't. I mean, it does well, but like it doesn't do how a video where like this video is like kind of dumb. Like we just like like whatever, and then it just blows up. It's so weird how it works sometimes.
It is weird. Yeah, it's very confusing, but it's the game, I guess. You know, you gotta play, and you never know which one's gonna hit.
Have you guys ever been put in like a specifically sketchy situation, like just with like traveling everywhere, being like, you know, just like a really just sketchy, like this does not feel right situation?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, there's a moment when you said that, I immediately thought of this one moment. We're in Mexico, and we're like an hour south of Tulum. I don't know where we are. Like we're in the middle of nowhere, and we were trying to find this. There was apparently this huge resort, like luxury resort, that was abandoned. It was like destroyed by a storm. So we were like, okay,
go check it out.
this is cool. Like they have a movie theater, bowling alley, like everything is like looks like really nice. It's just been like it was just wrecked, and like the investors just didn't care about it, so they just left it. So we're looking for this place, and we see it on Google Maps, and we feel like we're close, but there's like this kind of weird like little dirt road that leads down to it, and a gate, and like dogs barking, and we're like, this is weird. And then there's a really friendly dude that like waves at us and like opens the gate, and he's like, what are you looking for? And we're like, we're looking for a resort. He's like, what? There's no resort here. And we're like, literally, I mean, we're looking at Google Maps, like it should be down there. And he's just like, no, I mean, you can go look. And then we go down and we walk down, like we're like, it's pretty much like jungle at this point, just walking down like this dirt road. And we're walking 30 minutes through, we arrive. And then we see there's like barbed wire now all of a sudden. So there's like a gated thing. And we're like, okay, this is kind of weird, but there's an opening. So we start walking down, and there's like 4 to 6 guys, like black tank tops with, a couple of them have machetes, a couple have shotguns, and like black Dobermans that just look like terrifying. Like they will freaking eat you. And the guy with the shotgun starts running to this tarped little wooden like hut, I guess.
Yeah. Wonder what was happening.
I mean, I have no idea. We still have no idea what we're doing.
Sounds like a narco type situation.
I mean, like a part of us were like, okay, this is. We don't want to be stereotypical or like judgmental here. So Amar, like
they're holding a machine gun.
Yeah, I mean, we're also like, what could this? It's their private property. I don't know. You know? Like I don't know what the rules are in Mexico. Yeah, so we're there, and then we're realizing like, okay, we have to pull a crazy card here. And Amar just goes, "Hola, la playa." He just pretends like he's looking for the beach, and they're like, "La playa." And they're like, what? And like he almost like hides his machete. He's like, not here, like go back, you know. And then we're like, oh, okay, and we act like we were just lost tourists, and they were like almost as scared as we were. They were looking at us like, what? How did you guys get here? Please don't come back. Like they were equally like crazy. They were looking at each other like, what should we do about this? And we're looking at each other like, we're gonna go. Yeah. And then we turn around and we're like, okay, no worries. Like we're trying to pretend like, no. And then we turn around, and as soon as we go around the corner, I've never ran that fast in my entire life. We just like ran back towards the car, and we just hopped in, and we told the guy like, open the gate, and we just drove away.
How long did you guys talk about it for? Like after that happened, like was it like the story of
car
like,
ride?
Like,
I mean, we didn't know what happened, right? And we had a little GoPro, so some of it is captured, and we were just like holding it like in our hand, but we just drove away, and then like drove back to our Airbnb, and then just sat down, and we're like, what just happened? Like, what did we just walk into? Like, we had no idea, but it definitely felt like one of the sketchier like situations we've ever been in.
Yeah,
it was just one of those
crazy.
Moments where it's totally out of your control. You're stepping into someone else's property, and you're in Mexico in the middle of a jungle. Like clearly they were not expecting visitors. It was just like, okay, this was
holding a shotgun.
Yeah,
like right in front of you.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And you're probably unarmed or
nothing.
But yeah, you guys booked it.
Yeah, we were definitely led to a lot of existential questions after of like, what are we doing, and when should we like know where to draw the line of like, okay, we're seeking discomfort, we're going on an adventure, but we're also putting ourselves in situations that could be regrettable. So it was just kind of like a moment of, okay, I think the next day we were leaving Mexico anyways, but it was still like just a scary, I guess, interaction. Yeah.
What would you say is so like I guess the opposite of that? What would you say is like the coolest thing that you personally have done, like with Yes Theory?
There's a lot of I'm very grateful that like a lot of people ask us that, and I get to answer something different every time because there's so many moments. But what's right behind you is we had challenged Will Smith to bungee jump out of a helicopter.
Oh yes.
I didn't even see the bungee.
Yeah, wow. So that's Amar. That's a screenshot of the video that we've like kind of developed.
He fell like back.
He fell backwards. That's Amar in the sky right there. And in that moment, I'm standing next to Will Smith and his entire family. Like this whole huge crew of like 200 people. My parents are there. Our team is there. And we're just like screaming at Amar jumping. And this was like kind of a symbolic moment where we went from being like this small YouTube channel that was like trying to figure out what our thing is to like, okay, now Seek Discomfort is like alive in like a way that felt very real and powerful. And just seeing Amar literally comes from a small village in Egypt. So to see him like bungee jump in this moment, and we're like with Will Smith, everything was just so surreal and bizarre, that it was definitely one of the just crazier experiences I've ever
How'd you guys
had.
even set this up? Like, is there a bungee jumping company that does out of helicopters?
Well, I remember Will Smith for a while he would do a lot of great like YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So he was basically like, what happened was he started his YouTube channel at the beginning of the year, and he was talking a lot about fear and his experience skydiving and doing all this stuff. And then we realized basically there was a period of time where he just started, and we had like maybe 100,000 subscribers more than him or something like that. And we were like, okay, if we challenge him, we still aren't like too small to like not be worth responding to at least. So we decided to challenge him publicly on YouTube. And then he ended up accepting, and the whole thing like became kind of like a YouTube back and forth between us. But the funny thing is, when we challenged him, we hadn't looked into how to do it or how safe it was. And we found out a couple of months later, I don't know, we've never said this, but we found out there was like this big like kind of Fear Factor type of show that had tried to do this, and the person died.
Wow.
So the whole show got canceled. Like they filmed the first season, and then because of that, we found out after we had challenged Will Smith. So now we're like, okay,
Putting Will Smith in
if
danger.
we on live stream
it was
are the
on
ones
live
that
stream?
like kill Will Smith, our lives are over. Like there's nowhere I can move to where people won't be like, oh, you're the guy that killed Will Smith. I was like, we're either the guys that pulled off this crazy stunt, or the people that just did something horrible, you know. So literally, Will Smith's best friend, before Will jumped, came up to me. He's like this huge, like 6'7" dude, and he just puts his hand on my shoulder, and I look up, and he's like, you know, if Will dies, we're throwing you guys down with them. And he was freaking dead serious. I was like, oh my God, please don't die. Please don't die. It was wild. So we set it up, but luckily, like when we got there, I was like kind of panicking because it was so out of my control. And I literally asked, I went up to Will's manager, and I was like, because I could tell he was panicking too, but they had the two of the best helicopter pilots literally in the entire world. The best stunt helicopter filmer like in the world, like the guy that shoots all the blockbuster movies in Hollywood. It's dad and his son, I think, and they're in the helicopter together. They had like a bunch of Navy SEAL survival crew. They had the most expensive stunt crew in all of Hollywood was there. There was like 30 of them that organized everything. They did test jumps before. They did dummy jump. Will Smith had a stunt double that did the jump before. Like they like tested everything. And the more I was there, the more I was like, okay, yeah, they're really making sure this is gonna be good. But man, it was like the setup. Like nobody does this. Like you can't pay really to go somewhere and just do this. Like
it's like bungee jump off a helicopter into a grade.
They don't offer that on Groupon.
Yeah, they don't. They definitely don't. They definitely don't. And that's how we knew we would get Will Smith, right? We're like, you can't offer him to do something that he can just do on his own, probably 10 times better. Like you have to challenge him to do something outrageous.
Yeah. That's awesome.
There was a video you guys did, which is, I think it's my favorite one. It was when you spent 4 days at the Singapore airport.
Yeah.
I saw that.
The greatest airport ever, which it is. I've looked it up before.
Yeah.
I love Singapore.
I've never been,
Singapore's
but I think
amazing.
it'll be amazing to go.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Because you guys just really showed like the vastness of that airport. Like
It's
like you guys went
ridiculous.
swimming.
Yep.
You guys did all this crazy stuff.
So the airport is even bigger, but you can only get to those parts if you have a boarding pass. And since we were there, we didn't have we got in, and then we pretended to miss our flight, and then we had another flight leaving in like 4 days, but we didn't have boarding passes. So the airport is even bigger than what we got to see.
Yeah.
But it was just, that was tough, man, because we were sleeping. We were not sleeping at all. And there was like this music. There was this one song that they just had on loop, and we were just like listening to that like for like 4 days. Like you were kind of going crazy. It was like self-torture.
Probably remember all like the lines like, "Welcome to Singapore Airport."
Yeah, literally every 20 minutes there's like an announcement like that, right? So you just kind of, I had like PTSD going into airports for like a month after that. I would arrive and I would just be like, oh no, not again. Let me out of here.
I'm not eating at the same Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah, oh my God. But luckily it was like a great airport, right?
Yeah.
Like it was huge. Like they had like gourmet restaurant, like a pool. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know how long you could live in the Seattle airport for.
It's
pretty,
or LAX for that matter. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
oh my God, horrible.
Yeah, it's nothing compared to that, I don't think.
Yeah. But it's funny that they just build airports like that now. That are just like resorts.
Resorts.
It's pretty sick.
It's crazy.
We so we talk about this all the time with the entire team, but we think if we get the chance, being able to travel all together would be the most eye-opening. It would change the way we all think about everything that goes on, experiences. You guys are international, obviously, like Montreal, you know, but so you guys have, but like for us, what do you think it would mean to travel as a team and like?
Oh my God! Have you guys left the country before?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, not as a team.
I've been to Mexico.
Not as a team.
I mean, I've gone to Mexico.
Mexico's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's not super far. I mean, I'd like to go to other places. I've been to Mexico like 15 times. So like,
yeah,
I mean, it's the same thing.
Else.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I really enjoy it.
I think it's one of those things that just completely challenges your perception of a place and of people. And it kind of like, what I like about travel is that it takes me out of my regular element. Like I'm somebody who likes a routine. I like to wake up at a time and like do my thing and meditate and whatever.
That's super interesting that you have a routine. Like with like everything that you guys do. It's really interesting because like I would expect you guys to not really have a routine. Like to have like a routine and like what you guys do for content and all that. But I would expect you guys to be like very
totally. I mean, whenever we're filming, it's chaos, right? Waking up at 4 a.m., driving for 3 hours, like it's so messy. But when we're here, I'm trying to counterbalance that and feel a little more grounded with like a bit of a. Just I exercise and meditate in the mornings just to feel a little more leveled. But yeah, I mean the thing with traveling is that it takes me out of that entirely. Right, like I'm showing up to a place, I don't know anybody. People look at me weird. I can't understand them or like speak the language. It just takes you completely out of your element, and it's like to me it's the most like visceral way of just getting out of your comfort zone. Like you're arriving. Yeah. You know, at a place where everything is new, and what oftentimes the best part about travel is when you go into it like with an open mind, like you want to plan a minimum, but then you just want to see what happens, and a lot of the magic comes in those moments when you just meet somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna take you around, or you meet somebody before you get there and they just show you everything, and it's it can be a really amazing experience. And I was with a friend last night. And he's making videos about trying to travel to every country. His name is Drew, and Drew Binsky. And I was asking him about a bunch of the countries. And my girlfriend's actually the youngest girl to have traveled to every country. So I talk to her all the time about like where should I go next.
Really, she's been to
every country in the world. Yeah.
Wow.
And the country that I'm actually, it might sound strange, but the country that I feel the most compelled to once things open back up to travel to is actually Afghanistan.
Oh.
It's like in our minds, it's like
it's one thing in our head.
Yeah. But both Lexi and my friend Drew who've been there said it's one of the most surprising places in a positive way. There's obviously still a lot of like things that are very challenging with the country, right?
For sure.
But there's also a side of it that you never see otherwise than if you go yourself. And I would love to have that experience of going and just seeing what happens, right? And capturing the real experience, but also giving it potentially a different side that the media gives you every single day.
That would be huge over here in the States.
Yeah.
Like people want it, like I don't know if you know this YouTuber Bold and Bankrupt.
Yep.
Yeah. My favorite YouTuber.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So I don't think you guys know who he is, but he's this guy was born in the UK. He lives there, but he just goes to former Soviet Union countries like Belarus and just walks around with a GoPro, and India a lot, and just talks in every language you can think of to all these locals, tries all the beers. He's my favorite.
It's cool because you get to see, like, it humanizes a part of the world that you otherwise have like such preconceived notions of.
Yeah.
So I think for you guys, I don't know, I mean, what country, do you guys have an idea of where you'd like to go?
Amsterdam.
Together?
No, I'm kidding.
Amsterdam
is insane. Yeah.
Amsterdam's amazing.
Yeah, I think
it's weird, but selling Singapore pretty good.
Yeah. Singapore was great. Like we only got to explore before we entered the airport. We only got to see it for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
But it's
that I swear to God, that's
place.
also where we go. Like even like our biggest thing that traveling wise for us is like I'm under the impression that we can't get anywhere unless we get there 2 hours late, and like that's us as a team. like there's nothing in my mind that will ever tell me that our team can be on time. So I don't know when that will ever change. But we have this thing whenever we come to California as a team. We always have this idea of going to Venice Beach. It's a wonderful idea when it happens. We're like, yeah, let's go to Venice Beach. You know, we get there. We go to the bathroom because that takes 30 minutes to walk there. And then we eventually get out on the beach. And then we're like we have something else to do. Let's go do it. Every time we've gone, we've been there for 30 minutes total. And like we've probably gone like 6 times by now. Like it's ridiculous how many times we've gone and not actually gotten to stay at Venice
I have
Beach.
confidence we could do it right in Singapore.
I have no confidence. I have no confidence that we could do it. If we can't go to something as simple as a beach, how can we be on time for places?
Bali is also a very cool place to go to with friends. There's like a lot of variety. Like it's very over traveled now, but it still has like a lot of different things for everybody. And then you can split up in mini groups if you want to, or all stick together. There's like a lot to see. Indonesia in general, would be amazing.
When I travel, I stay in hostels, and it's weird. But I want to shove all of us into a big hostel.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and
that was our Airbnb this weekend.
Yeah, we all have to meet. Because that's how that was the fun part. So you meet people from all over the world that are college students and just go fuck around and do whatever you want.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, so I think just we shove ourselves in a hostel and we just bring a vlog camera and go, okay, let's half of us have never seen outside the country. Let's go check it out.
that would be amazing. I think that could be great. Yeah, I really think so.
Yeah, I think that there would be some points in the vlog that couldn't be left in.
That's all good though.
Yeah. I think it would get pretty hostile at some points.
Trust the editors.
Yeah, you exactly. You keep those for memories, and we definitely shoot a lot of stuff that the editors have to cut out.
Yeah,
we come back with 8 hours of footage. It's ridiculous. I mean, we come back with a lot of footage per episode, and then the editors do their magic and get it down to
That's awesome.
Well, that's good to hear. Minutes. That's good to hear that everybody has things that don't get put in and.
Yeah,
so much. Yeah, and we look at it too and see is that joke too far?
Dude, that is the story of our TikTok. These guys are editing it the TikTok and that. The YouTube is a little bit more you can
relax.
Yeah, you can put a little bit more in the YouTube, but on TikTok
they will shut you down. So we literally have read TOS so many times. Just be like, oh, that's too close to saying that you're gonna beat the shit out of them. You can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you have to. We definitely trust the editors a lot. Thank you, Ethan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ethan.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' dream with this? Or how did it even start? Why did you guys decide to do TheSync?
I was supposed to move down here in California, but the day it went on lockdown, I couldn't get on my flight. So I went over to a friend's house in their basement, and we just started making some videos. And eventually, as we grew and grew, we wanted to start different channels. I brought Chris and Berkeley over, and they came over and started filming, and then we started podcasts. And people were still figuring it out, but people are figuring out the roles that they're all getting filled really quickly.
That's amazing.
So we're just trying to grow and have as many channels and ways to talk with the TikTok, YouTube, and now the podcast.
Yep.
And the podcast we cut to TikToks as well.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, I think the dream is just to. I don't know. We just.
I mean, it's still
at
the
get
start, right?
I
think that's the best thing.
It's so young. I think that with what we filmed this week, we should probably be at close to 18 episodes on the podcast.
Wow.
So I mean, it's very new. You know what I mean? And I mean, half those are just us. Just us talking, messing around with different stuff. And it's so much fun. We have so much fun on podcasts.
I love it.
Well, and it's cool because it really doesn't take that much setup. We have a computer, some microphones, and we can just come, to your guys' basement, and just set up, and it's super fun. You can film for, we filmed with Alex Warren yesterday for 2 hours.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It was nuts. Everybody, we stopped the cameras 4 times.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And you can learn so much about someone on just an hour-long podcast too.
Totally.
We don't know half of our people we bring on to our podcast, and we just become best friends just like that, which is weird.
Yeah, totally.
This episode's I'm having moments in this episode.
I'm still kind of I don't really. It doesn't feel like I'm filming a podcast.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel so comfortable. I'm
I know.
chilling.
Normally we sat in hard ass chairs the entire week.
Yeah. This is so nice.
Yeah, I've just been lounging the entire time. It's been fun.
It's good to be cozy, man.
No, for sure. Yeah, we gotta do a twin futon setup in this.
But Thomas, I'm having these weird flashbacks where I'm thinking back to myself in eighth, like freshman in high school, sophomore, and I remember myself like sitting on my couch and I'd rewatch the videos of when you guys would sneak into movie premieres so many times. And it's like during this episode, I didn't have time to like think this morning. It's very nuts that now like we're doing a podcast together.
I love it.
It's really crazy like to think like the people that we will like be sitting with and like the people that we do sit with it.
We literally like, just like grew up with like all these creators, and it's just like
that's so cool.
Nice Dad, Yes Theory, Logan Paul, like all these YouTubers during our time is who we grew up with and watched.
Yeah.
That's wild. Because for me, like I've always been like in that exact same seat as well. Of like I grew up watching YouTube, and coming out to LA and meeting some of the people that I was like, you don't understand. Like I'm the reason why. Like you're the reason why I'm making videos. You know, it's like such a bizarre feeling to. But the cool part is now that we've been around long enough that it's kind of, you know, people were watching us as well, and so I don't process that really, like it doesn't really click, but to hear it is amazing, and I'm so stoked we're getting to chat, and the sneaking in things were a lot of fun.
yeah La La Land, that was insane, making the fake press pass, also just going up to billionaires' house and saying, hey, can we swim in your pool?
That was so scary. I was not good at that. I was always like literally like my heart was just pumping. Now like years later I'm like I'd feel way more comfortable doing it. But when we first moved to LA, like a month in, we just drove out to Beverly Hills in like swimsuits, you know, and like we looked so goofy, and we're like, hello, like we had like, I mean, the cops called on us a couple times, like it was kind of scary, but it turned out to be amazing. One dude was like, "You want to swim in my pool?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, all right. We're like, really? And then we hop in his pool and we're filming this slow-mo of us like jumping in and whatever, and his mom comes out, she's like, what the fuck is this? And we're like literally swimming in her pool. We're like, oh, we'll be right out in a couple minutes. And she's like, what are you doing? Get out of my house. It was kind of funny.
It was pretty funny.
Damn. That's crazy. It's the it's the podcast. It's the way like your channel is so consistent with it. It's always something that you're surprised that you're actually gonna go do it. It's like exploring an abandoned town, but then suddenly you're doing the Will Smith bungee jump.
It's like clickbait that like actually like follows.
It's
through.
clickbait that actually follows through.
It's like wow, this is fucking crazy. Like I would not expect these guys to. Oh shit. Jesus.
But when we were smaller, people would comment like, "Oh, this is probably fake." Like it was around the time when a lot of people were faking their pranks and whatever, and people thought we were faking the sneaking in stuff or any of that stuff, and it was all real. And we kept like trying to comment back, like, "No, we did this." You know, like this is. And now we've done it for so long that like people know that we're not like faking anything. Like it's all the way it comes up in the video. But yeah, it's cool. It's fun to come up with ideas every week of like what's something new and different that'll get us out of our comfort zones.
I think with how much like I watch their content, like it really does have an effect on the way you think. Like I've done things, some of them kind of dumb that have got me in trouble, but like when I'm doing them and I think about like maybe I should stop, it's that feeling of regret comes in. I think subconsciously 100% comes from the idea of going all out, saying yes and going to it.
Have you guys gotten arrested for?
Oh yeah, that's what it's about.
No, never been arrested.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Wow.
So there's always a fine line of like, okay, when are we? Like we're trying to be very aware of the cameras or the video, right? When we're like, are we pushing it too far, or are we doing it? Like, is there a purpose in this? Like, you know, just always trying to figure out. There's a fine line there, right? Like, it's discomfort, but it's also not recklessness.
You don't want to make it seem just like dumb, whatever you're doing. There's a purpose to it because it's better for you.
Exactly. So it's about thinking about what's the point here. And we've definitely gotten close to the line of reckless. Like the time we went to that, you know, resort, then that's when we really question, like, oh, you know, was our gauge off here? Because the goal is also we want to be responsible with what we show in the videos, and that's kind of why we stopped doing a bit of the sneaking in and the abandoned stuff, because people started to do it too. You know, people would try to sneak into places and they would get in trouble, and they'd message us like, "Hey, I tried to do it too."
And you got me arrested.
Like, yeah, and I was like, "Oh no, like don't do it too." You know, so we start to say in the videos like, "Don't do it."
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, we're always very careful, and we always like the way we do it. We try not to do it in a way that's like. That's kind of.
You guys try and like legally break the law.
I guess so. Right? Sneaking in to me is like a game of chess, right? It's like can I outsmart it? whenever we did like trying to forge tickets or whatever, that's when we were like, okay, this is not cool. This wasn't the idea. But if I can talk my way in and they give me a ticket, that's kind of like it's me versus them, right? And it's a game of like how calm can I stay when I'm talking to them. And I've been doing that since I'm like 18 years old. Like I've met a lot of my favorite musicians sneaking in backstage. And I just got really good at it. And I never filmed it. I would just do it all the time. And amongst my friends, they would love, like I was known as the dude who just snuck in and met his favorite musicians. And then when we started making videos, I like never considered filming it because I was like, I don't know if I want to show myself. Like, can I get in trouble if I film this? You know, like what's going to happen? Yeah. But then we did, and people loved it. I was like, cool. I guess not in trouble so far. Like let's keep going.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was it was the one time he was kind of bringing this up, but it was the one time I went to Universal Studios. Yeah, and I was thinking like the way you go up to somebody in the Yes Theory video when you're going to sneak into Warner Brothers, it's act like you belong. Yeah. And I went into like the studio a lot of Universal Studios and just started walking around by myself, and I was like, act like you belong. I definitely did not look like I belonged.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? If you look, that's a whole... One time backstage, I literally... Like, there was a bouncer in front of the backstage. And I knew my favorite musician had just gone off, like, playing. And I know he's backstage. And I literally just walked up and I, like, did this to the bouncer and just opened the door. And he just didn't say anything. He literally just let me through. It was like a huge gamble. I was I'm out of ideas. I'm just going to do this. Yeah. Like, literally look like I'm part of the crew. And he just let me in. Like... I just continued walking, and I was totally expecting like a hand on my shoulder, like get the hell out of here, and like nothing happened.
We'll try it at a bar tonight.
Yeah, I mean you can literally do it, and like it's you gotta be bold, and you gotta be like okay with getting busted. But I always have like a backstory. Like I was gonna in that moment, if I got caught, I would say like, oh wait, are the bathrooms not here? You know, like you can always act dumb.
It's like a bouncer in front of the bathroom.
You can just always look like you just act dumb, right? Act stupid. That's always my way out. It's like oh wait, this is not where I was supposed to be, and, and then you can kind of get out of it.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Yeah. So what's in store for this year? What's like the big, I guess in short term for what's going to happen with the Yes Theory?
So we're going to continue, putting up weekly videos on YouTube, and then we're launching our podcast. Yeah, so I'm excited to
shout it out. What's it called? Where can people find it?
It's going to be called the Yes Theory Podcast.
Oh, Yes Theory Podcast.
Yes Theory Podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So it's a partnership with Headspace, which is like the meditation app, and we have 10 episodes coming out. The first one is about uncertainty and discomfort of uncertainty, something that I'm sure everyone's had to experience, of just like not knowing what's going to happen.
Are there guests on the podcast?
Yep. Cool. Yeah. So there's a lot of different kinds of guests. There's in the first episode there's a rocket scientist and a Harvard professor who teaches happiness.
Hit us up.
It's cool. Like basically every episode is going to be like several interviews cut together to create like a bigger narrative.
It's actually going to be produced and cut for it. Wow.
We have like a script. We have a producer who's writing for it. It's like we're trying to figure out just how do we make this like something, I guess, really different. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot more work than we expected. Yeah. Like now that we're like almost there, we're like, wow, that was really difficult, you know? Yeah. And luckily we have an amazing team working on it. They're doing most of the heavy lifting. But it's taking longer than we expected. But I think the final product is going to be awesome when it comes out.
It's awesome. And can't wait for that.
Yeah.
For real.
I would be really interested to hear from like, because I think the biggest discomfort is a lot of kids want to do like YouTube videos and really go into that, but also they're thinking about the way it comes across to their friends and their friends talking about it. Yep. Young YouTubers like the Emma Chamberlains of the world. Yeah. That I think that might be a really interesting thing to go into.
That's a good idea.
Discomfort of creating content.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I'm realizing there's a lot of things that I take for granted and how to start on YouTube and how to do certain things that I realize like I think a lot of people really want to know more of, like how do you do it, like what are the small things that matter, from title and thumbnail to how do you build your team, like what kind of contracts should you be doing, like all these like little things like seem so specific, but when you're alone it's impossible to know which one's right and which one isn't. So we're not going into that level of detail in terms of like how to make videos on the podcast. It's more about discomfort and how to deal with like big levels of uncertainty, how to deal with ego and like your own, self-esteem and all of those things. And we try to take different topics that really have like had anchors and like big differences in our lives and try to explore them more in depth in conversation. So yeah, it's kind of like our way to get to know like really cool guests and also just dive deep into topics. And elaborate more on the whole idea of seeking
Sounds
comfort.
awesome.
Just one last final question, I guess, is just for the audience before we wrap it up. Where can they find all your social media and where you are, like your personal profiles?
Absolutely. So it's just Yes Theory everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then all the other links are just from there. Yeah.
Sweet. It'll be all linked down below.
Any last final advice for working in a team and doing something like, because you guys, we were so excited for this podcast again because your team is so similar to what we're trying to build.
I would say my first thought was just like be kind and patient with each other. Like there's always moments where you're going to be frustrated and that's just a part of it. Like there is no relationship, friendship, whatever, where there isn't at any point like moments of tension or of confusion, right? So just know that that's going to happen, and then just always stay open and try to always be the first one to apologize. Even if it wasn't your fault, always try to be like, I'm sorry I did that. Because it's so hard to apologize sometimes when your ego is like, oh, I was right. But just be open, be kind to each other, and don't hold grudges. Yeah, I would say like the interpersonal stuff is always where it gets like,
just say it if you feel something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like a counterintuitive thing, and I feel like guys, that are like, you guys are 19, but like, in their 20s or teenagers, it's hard to like, it's kind of like counterintuitive, to do that kind of stuff, but it's the most important thing, and you have to do it if you want to last. So I'm excited for your guys' journey. I'm excited to see where it's going to go. 4 months in, it's amazing what you've accomplished.
Thank you.
It took us years to get to 1 million followers anywhere, so I'm stoked to see what the future holds for you guys. And
thank you very much.
Excited to see where everything.
It's going to be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Guys, go subscribe. All those links will be down below. Thomas, Yes Theory, everywhere. Go check it out and make sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell, and our YouTube will be linked down below. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Buy
Buy some merch.